Hey folks, it's your girl Lexi Mahari. Happy New Year. Welcome back to another episode of Buzzworthy Chit Chat with Lexi Mahari. In this episode, we are talking about Porsha Family Matters, episode 5, Spilling the Tequila. We have got to unpack what we witnessed last night. It was a hot mess. Let's chat. Hey folks, it's your girl Lexi Mahari. Welcome back for another episode of Buzzworthy Chit Chat. Before we dive into today's episode, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can receive notification each time I upload a brand new video. So, I am not going to do a full-on review or recap of everything that happened. If you saw the show, you definitely saw some things occurring with your own eyes and heard some things with your own ears. But what I wanted to do was just to unpack some of the stuff that was transpiring in this week's episode. And the reason I want to do that is, again, I can see why people are highly frustrated with this show, as well as why, again, it may be perceived to be as fake. Because who wants to believe that people are this idiotic in some of their thought process, behaviors, and, whatever else you want to say about it. Some of the key things that occurred in this week's episode had to do with the continuation of the Mexico trip. As you might recall, the whole purpose of this group of people taking the trip down to Mexico was for them to be able to address issues that have occurred in the past. And I really want to believe that it was Lauren's hope, Lauren Williams' hope, that she would be able to facilitate a productive conversation as well as a series of activities and events along with her spiritual leader that was there with her, that they would be able to collectively have Porsha and Dennis, potentially Simon, work through their issues as related to, why or how they would get to this place where Porsha and Dennis could, effectively co-parent Pilar. This trip has been a disaster. So if we approach what we saw last night with, let's be optimistic that this is not a fake show. Let's pretend that this is real and that they are truly going down there to resolve things. I think it was ridiculous that they took all those people with them, because they were never going to resolve things with outside voices. And I have to agree with Porsha's aunt. That trip should have only been about family. And by right, she probably shouldn't have even been there, right? It's likely that it really should have only been Porsha, Simon, and Dennis, with Lauren there, if she was truly there to facilitate some type of resolution to their past issues. Lauren, that's really all they needed to have there. I would add, as a extended family, maybe Dennis's mom, Mama Gina, could have been there, and Porsha's mother should have been there. And when Porsha's mother ducked out with whatever injury or illness she had, that trip should have just been delayed if we were going to include the mothers in this process. Because what we saw happen on episode 5 is just ridiculous, and it has a lot to do with these outside voices. Additionally, another contributing factor that I would say is leading to the failure of this group to be able to resolve anything is the fact that Porsha is not over Dennis's cheating. And, at the end of the day, everyone copes with cheating in their own way. And I know we observed her allegedly getting some type of counseling on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And she clearly needed to keep going because she's not over it. She has not forgiven him, so to speak. And until she gets to those two places, I don't see how she's going to achieve this thing that she wants to achieve. On the episode 5, she talked about how she wished her mother could have been able to cross the threshold at Lauren's house whenever she was dropped off, that there could have been more of an open family type of relationship where, when she went to her father's home, her mother was there, able to walk through the door, and it was just like an extended family type of exchange that was happening. And, that just doesn't happen in a lot of relationships. That's just not the way it is. A lot of times it is, it's a custody situation where the child is spending X amount of time with parent A, and then they go off to spend X amount of time with parent B. And it is very siloed, right? That lifestyle or experience is a siloed experience for the child. And obviously purposely done that way a lot of times because the parents, right? The parents can't necessarily navigate these situations, and the most peaceful way for them to do that is to keep it very businesslike, so to speak. And so, Porsha wanted something different for Pilar, if we believe what she is saying. However, her mental state, I would say, or her, her spirit, I don't want to say her mental state, but her spirit, Porsha's spirit is not in that place right now to get there because she is still harboring a lot of anger against Dennis. And the mere fact that she continues to bring up Dennis's girlfriends, flings, whatever you want to call them, shows you that she is still wrapped around the axle about him cheating on her while she was pregnant. And of course, that had to be a very hurtful experience for her. But it has absolutely nothing to do with them co-parenting Pilar with Simon at this point. It has nothing to do with that. And so until she can stop bringing it up or getting offended or annoyed every time Dennis is making the rounds with another woman, they're not going to get to that place because she is still treating him as though they're in some type of amorous relationship, and they're not. They're not. And if she has truly moved on in the way she wants America at this point, or people around the world that are watching this, to believe with Simon, what Dennis is doing or what he did to her a few years ago shouldn't matter, right? She should be focused on the fact that she is engaged to perhaps the love of her life, and she is now ready to plan that marriage. And this is just another piece of the puzzle, her ensuring that Pilar never has to experience what she experienced as a child growing up with divorced parents. So yeah, this episode was highly frustrating for me as a viewer, because as you're watching what's taking place, particularly towards the latter half of the episode, we're observing old things get brought up, and Porsha visibly getting upset with each time someone brings it up, but also wanting people to rally around her in her defense and go at Dennis for what he did to her. And really, that shouldn't be what they're talking about in the first place. It really has nothing to do with them getting to point C or D if she's resolved these things, right? To Lauren's credit, earlier in the episode when she tried to get Porsha to see that she had not moved past certain things and that she needed help still, Porsha is in denial about that. She's saying that she has God. And of course, who's going to come back and deny that God is obviously a relevant figure and to have in your life when you're going through a difficult time. But I really respected what she said. It was like, okay, you have God, but you also still need counseling because you're clearly having issues still with Dennis. So, even in the end, when the fight is about to pop off, so to speak, she says she wants security to remove Dennis and his sluts and his mother off the premises. Well, what does Dennis's sluts, so to speak, have to do with whatever is transpiring in that moment? So again, as long as she's bringing that up, she's not over Dennis. And Simon looks like a fool as he is watching this. And common sense would say to him, if he was truly there for Porsha at this point, then he would be able to see that she is not over Dennis and they should not be getting married, because she's not in love with you. She's still in love with Dennis. She's in love with the idea of something, perhaps his wallet, if he's truly worth that. But as it relates to, if we're talking reality and love and, getting married to this person, they should not be getting married because she is not over Dennis. He is a rebound. And it was an effort to try to upstage Dennis or to make Dennis jealous. So I am not going to address the Storm situation. I know that is like bubbling up all over the internet and YouTube and Instagram. I know she went live, had a lot to say, but for me, that's just a distraction. That's a whole other side issue. I was watching one YouTuber who, in the comments, one of the viewers actually raised a very good question about that whole situation with Storm and Dennis, and that, if these accusations are true that she has put out there, why would Porsha have ever gotten into a relationship with Dennis knowing these things? I don't know what's true, what's not true, who knew what, when. So I'm going to kind of leave that issue where it is on the side and just kind of let others deal with it and tackle it. I think it's a distraction, honestly. For me, I'm more about understanding how or if Dennis and Porsha will truly ever get to a place where they can effectively co-parent in the way that Porsha initially described. I'm rooting for Porsha. I know I have just said a lot as relates to where I think her head is and where her heart is. But if she were my friend, that's what I would have said to her, to say, you're not ready. You should not be talking about marriage. You should be getting help. She needs help to get over this. So let's address the fight that happens at the very end of the episode that for me really just made the hot mess boil over and stick to the stove. So at the end, we see where after a lot of back and forth between Porsha's family and or assistance with Dennis and or potentially Dennis's mom, I don't know what kind of editing was done in the end, but this back and forth argument about when or where Dennis had his let's call it an affair for a better lack of a word with this other person. After an extended back and forth on this particular topic, it all blows up and Porsha basically orders security to come in and escort Dennis and his mom away. Dennis tells Storm in the midst of an exchange that's occurring to shut the F up. And as a result of that exchange, Porsha's like, okay, you got to go. She points out the fact that this is the second time that Dennis has spoken to her cousin in the way that he has, and she doesn't appreciate it. So she orders him out. Now, again, this is editing. I don't know how long this back and forth was going on. I don't condone him talking to her cousin that way. I don't condone a man saying that to any woman, for that matter. But clearly, again, a lot of stuff happening over there. A distraction, as I would refer to it. And really, Storm should not have been a part of that conversation. But I don't know if something else happened for her to suddenly interject herself that way, and they edited it to that point where it looks like she just randomly interjected herself into that conversation, or if she just felt a need to say something and it just triggered Dennis to respond the way he did. Again, I don't condone it. I don't think it was the best way for him to go in responding to her. But that happens. Porsha wants them to go. It comes across to me as if Porsha was probably upset more about other things, right? Because she seemed to relish the fact that they were bringing up Dennis's situation, the things that he did while she was pregnant. But then when, Dennis's mom is like, come on, guys, chill out. Let's move past this. Why are we talking about this? She gets frustrated. And I'm a little frustrated with her because I have to agree with Dennis's mom. It was like, why are we bringing this up? Let's move past this. We need to talk about something else. But the extra people that are on this trip, insist on bringing it up. So again, things blow up. And as Dennis and his mom is leaving, it's hard to determine really in watching this back what happened as Dennis's mom came near Porsha. I've kind of been watching different YouTubers and their commentators kind of comment on what they perceive to have happened. And I honestly can't tell if Porsha just truly lunged at Dennis's mom. Did Dennis's mom say something that provoked her? Did Dennis's mom maybe touch Porsha first and then Porsha responded in kind? I don't know. But it was really disappointing to see it just come down to that point, right? Where you've got 40-year-old Porsha battling Dennis's mom, and I forget how old she is. I can't remember if she's 62 or, if she's like the same age as Porsha's mom or what. But it just wasn't a good look for Porsha, and it just kind of, for me, solidified this series as just generally not a good look for her. Unless some resolution is coming in remaining episodes, this show did nothing for her. I understand that recently there was some back and forth between Dennis and Porsha on social media about parenting and, who is or isn't a good parent, and efforts to clear up some things that we're potentially going to see in future episodes. But, I am really disappointed in this show. I don't think it's really done anything for her. For those who are fans of Porsha, I know they're very frustrated that Dennis is somehow coming out looking better in this situation. I don't think anyone is overlooking what he did while she was pregnant. It's just he is coming across, unfortunately, as someone who has his emotions in check for the most part. He knows when to disengage when the argument is becoming a bit too emotional most often, right? Between him and Simon. Again, didn't really want to like Simon, but Simon is sitting there like the mature person who knows when and when not to get involved in any of these conversations. It's impressive, actually. I think someone younger would have been interjecting themselves in places where they didn't need to be. But he is smartly just kind of sitting back and watching all of this unfold. Even as Dennis is exiting the restaurant with his mother, Simon says in a very calm tone, if you go back and watch this and you're watching the subtitles, he's very calm, saying, we'll talk about this another day, very calm, like escorting him out. I think trying to ensure that this ends peacefully, but then it just all blows up. So for me, this show is turning out to be not a great look for Porsha Williams. Well, folks, that's it for today's episode of Buzzworthy Chit Chat. Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Before we go, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.